Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 106. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. His mom breaks bricks with her head, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of Pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com. Yeah, don't mess with me because I'll get my mom on you. Like, for real, because she is a beast, but she's awesome and I love her. She used to compete in brick breaking competitions. She's a second Dan black belt in Taekwondo, and she'd often be she was always the only female competitor, and she's taken home a few first and second place trophies. So, Mom, if you're listening to this, I love you. You are amazing, and thanks for protecting me my whole life. Everybody else out there, what's up? Welcome to episode 106 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. I'm just so thankful that you're here. I can't believe we are just rolling along and these episodes are coming. I mean, there's so many interviews lined up, and I'm just so excited about this one because a little quick background story about how I met this person, but also how we've been working together lately with some other people here in San Diego. Well, I went to FinCon last year, and that's where I did my first keynote presentation, and I met a woman there named Beth Storjohann, and she was just amazing. We just clicked right away, and we hung out a lot, and I got to know what she did for her business, and it just really stood out to me because I know the personal finance industry. That's probably the space besides the entrepreneurship blogging space that I know the most about, because that's the first sort of community of bloggers that I ever read when I first started reading blogs, even before I started blogging myself. And so it was really interesting to hear how she's now in the space and how she's doing it, and also how she's really focused on getting clients first and doing it in a totally non-passive way, but she's working toward building a passive income from first starting out with clients. And I think this is going to be a really important show because a lot of us, we immediately try to do something online and have it be automated. But some of us in some niches, especially in competitive ones, you might be better off doing something like Mary Beth did, which is really working closely with clients, honing in on your skills, getting recognition for the work that you do with the clients. Mary Beth has also been on TV a number of times here in San Diego. I've seen a number of her spots on her YouTube channel, and it's just amazing what she's been able to do. And now she's sort of done the reverse. So a lot of us typically, we will, build online products and information products and then hire clients from there. However, she's hiring clients first and doing really well with them. And now she's going to sort of branch out and have a passive income selling products to fill in the gap between those who, want that information but can't afford her time. Just a great way of approaching it. And so I'm very, very happy to welcome Mary Beth Storjohann from workablewealth.com. And actually, she and I and Caleb Wojcik. Gosh, sorry, Caleb. Didn't mean to. It's just a weird last name, man. Like, I'm sorry, Wojcik. Caleb Wojcik, like logic. That's how I know. But the three of us, we were all at FinCon together last year, and we decided to set up an in-person monthly mastermind group here. So we have a lot of people here in San Diego who are entrepreneurs, and we were able to pool a bunch of them together, and we just met last month in person. We had a nice dinner, and we decided that, we immediately clicked, and we sort of just gotten to know each other really well then. And now we're going to meet each month, and that's going to be really cool because I'm already in 3 virtual mastermind groups, and I've been a part of physical sort of in-person mastermind groups before, but they've always failed. But I think they failed because we were just having too much fun. Not to say that mastermind meetings aren't fun, but for instance, one of the ones I was in, we had our meetings while playing Frisbee golf in Balboa Park here in San Diego. And so we would have a lot of fun, but typically we wouldn't be getting a lot of work done. So these are going to be highly focused meetings in San Diego. And, who knows how big it'll be, but for now it's just 8 of us here in San Diego, including John Lee Dumas and Kate and Rick Mulready and Amy Clover and just a lot of amazing people. So I'm just very thankful to be a part of that group and thankful for Mary Beth for actually helping to set all this up. So let's just get right into the interview because there's some really golden nuggets here in this particular podcast. It was a great conversation. You'll also hear how well-spoken she is when I ask her questions, and that's something I ask her about at the end because she's obviously very good at that, and that's something that I think is a skill that we should all learn because communication is really what this is all about. So let's hear from Mary Beth Storjohann from workablewealth.com. Mary Beth, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Now, tell us your story. You're in the personal finance niche, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Not personal finance, but you're in a very competitive space. And I think a lot of people are reluctant to get into a space that they know about because they know other people are also doing it. So we're going to talk about, a lot of the cool things that you're doing to differentiate yourself from everybody else in that community, which I got really excited about when you started telling me about what you did. But what were you doing before you had workablewealth.com?
Before I started Workable Wealth, I actually spent about 10 years in the financial planning industry. I did a little bit of career ladder climbing, hopping around different companies and really establishing my expertise and growing. And my most recent position was actually as Director of Financial Planning with a local San Diego firm before I launched Workable Wealth.
Okay, and what made you decide to start to, go online as opposed to continue going up that ladder?
Since my backstory on why I'm really in this industry is that I grew up in a family where money was talked about and struggled with and fought about time and time again. And I had to pay my own way through college. And so long story short, when you turn into this industry, you get your own degree, you're paying through things. I had to get a job, and I got my first job in the industry. So I've been in the industry for 10 years, and I majored in financial planning. So at that time, I realized that a lot of my friends and peers were not getting the same money education that I was getting through my major. So that passion of mine, to work with this younger generation really started while I was in college. And in this industry, you're told no time and time again. So I was told no, that I could not work with this generation. This generation has no money. They are entitled. They don't want the advice. I was told no again and again, and it wasn't until a couple years ago that I stumbled on some people who are doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I began to just start the path of going online and setting up a lifestyle business and being able to access clients across the country.
That's really cool. Who was saying no to you?
The financial services industry is a little bit of an old boys club. You're just told there's a mindset that you need to work face-to-face with your clients, that you need to work with clients who have $1 million in order to charge them a fee for their assets under management. So I got no across the board from different companies I worked with and just different people I shared my ideas with.
Right. And when you discover these other people who were doing and targeting Gen Y, as we call it, that inspired you and kind of validated your idea that it would work.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited to stumble upon these people who are already doing it. It was fantastic.
Now, there are other people already doing it. A lot of people at that point would be like, oh, they're already doing it. They took my idea. How or where did you get the confidence to go and do it yourself as well? And how are you differentiating yourself?
I got the confidence, just something new. There are other young financial planners out there that are doing this already. Something I feel really confident in is that I have 10 years of industry experience backing me. I know I have worn so many different hats in running an actual financial planning business, from the compliance side to the website side to the paperwork. I know the inner workings of how to run a firm so well that I just felt so confident that I could basically take this and translate it into an online business on my own, servicing a market that I'm passionate about. So I felt confident just in my skills and my knowledge right there. And the thing is, there are people who are doing some really successful work already with this, but I'm different. I want to work with Gen Y. I am Gen Y, and I also believe in establishing a niche. And Gen Y, although they are my client, age group, they're not my specific niche. I'm not trying to work with all of Gen Y. I niche down from there, and I picked markets to work with that I relate to.
Very cool. Now, tell us about when you first got started. So you were in corporate, and then you decided to go online. You discover this sort of area of personal finance that you wanted to focus on. What were your first steps? How did you start your online business from where you were before?
So way back about 5 years ago, I actually started my own personal finance blog under an alias name that is no longer in existence. But I had that running for about a year and a half, and at that time, I discovered the online personal finance community and some of the greats that are out there right now, JD Roth, J Money, all of these great people. I saw what they were doing and just the level of educations and the bringing it back to the basics that they could do. So seeing that online presence just from having a blog is where it all started. Mm-hmm. And then in reaching out and seeing how some other people were incorporating using Skype and Google Hangouts into their businesses, and Gen Y is so tech savvy, and we're so pressed for time as it is, that it just made sense to me to why not make this transition and to have access to a wider market and bring it, online and provide, education to the masses as opposed to saying, I just want to service local San Diego clients.
Right. I mean, first of all, the personal finance community is awesome. That's why I always say FinCon is like one of the top events that I go to every single year. PT does a great job of putting on a show there. But I mean, I go there because it really does feel like a family. And that's obviously where we connected last year, and I've connected with so many other people in the industry. And they helped me get my start as far as doing presentations and stuff. I mean, that's why I love the personal finance community. I read a lot of personal finance blogs when I first started, including JD Roth, Trent from Simple Dollar, and all of those people were amazing. Now, the interesting thing about what you have now, Workable Wealth, I mean, you had a blog and you had an alias and you were doing that whole thing, sort of like what they were doing. But now it seems like you're not just a blogger. You are actually providing services and stuff. How are you generating an income from what you do online?
So I like to say I'm shaking up traditional financial planning, and something new in the industry is following a subscription basis model. So my clients pay me a one-time upfront fee, and they pay me a monthly retainer forward. So I charge the upfront fee because obviously there's the initial investment in the creation of a comprehensive financial plan. I want all of my clients to have a plan of attack covering all their bases before we get started together. But then from there on out, they'd pay me monthly. So just like you would pay your gym payment or your cell phone bill, I make it easier on their cash flow, and they set it up through PayPal or any other online service to send me that monthly payment.
Okay, so you have clients that come in. That's your goal here, is to provide an education, build trust, but then have people come on as clients and pay you.
Yes, exactly.
How soon after you started your website, workablewealth.com, did you start getting paying clients?
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. Wow, how did you make that happen so quickly?
I was reaching out. So there was a lot of legwork that went into the development, prep work that went into Workable Wealth. So I was spreading the word early on, reaching out to some of my contacts. When the website went live, there are other financial planners that I know who are no longer taking clients. And so they now send their any prospects to my way. So I've gotten a lot of referrals and traffic to my website that way too, by establishing, I think you and I have talked about that abundance mentality. So just networking and leveraging those resources and contacts that I have.
Absolutely. I mean, if I could go back into time, I always say this, take the DeLorean, head back, talk to my younger self. One of the things I would tell myself is you got to meet, talk, and befriend as many people as you can, because I wouldn't get to where I am at today if it wasn't for the other people in my life. Now, I don't give myself credit for where I am. I give the other people around me who has helped me and supported me and also given me the contacts and referrals to make things happen in my life.
I completely agree. I would not be where I am or at the level of business that I'm at right now if it was not for the amazing mastermind group that I have of planners that are across the country doing what I'm doing, and just the leverage and great supportive network that I have.
What are the biggest struggles you have as, building a business that's sort of client-based?
I actually just had this conversation with a fellow entrepreneur this morning. The struggle and building a client base is, especially as a female, sales is a dirty word in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
So establishing the relationships and being able to build that trust and credibility. So I think that's probably what the biggest struggle is, making sure and convincing people, people who come to me, especially 20, 30s, they're trying to get a handle to understand their finances as it is. So sometimes it seems pretty counterintuitive to have to spend money to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably one of the struggling is helping people to kind of wrap their mind around that. And
how do you do that? Just curious.
I do that by helping them to understand, the value that they're getting. They're getting an accountability partner in me. I'm happy to say, here, I'll develop a financial plan for you. But after 10 years in the industry, I know that if I develop a financial plan and hand it off to somebody to take care of on their own, it's likely going to get set aside and get dusty. Mm-hmm. So I let them know that part of this subscription program, part of my financially sound package, is that you're getting accountability check-ins from me on an ongoing basis. So I streamline that. I do email access. I'll just do a quick follow-up, checking in how things are going. They always have access for questions. And they're also getting leverage and input from my network. So if they need a CPA, if they need an estate planning attorney, I have professional contacts that I work with on the back end. And I'm saving them time and saving them confusion and questions by connecting them to the people that they need to talk to get their goals met.
Wow. I hope everybody who is just listening to this picked up on all of that, because that is so important, I feel, and that's how you're providing even more value to these people, not just giving them something like a plan. And that's something a lot of us do in the online space with whatever niche we're in. We build an info product and we just sell it, and that's it. And there's no further contact. And you're able to not only charge an upfront fee, but a retainer monthly to have people be, your client, you as their accountability partner. I really love that phrasing. Checking in with people, that stuff is so valuable, and that's the stuff that really gets people to take action and to make sure that when they get lazy, that they do the work to have whatever happen that you want to happen. Exactly. I love the email follow-ups. I mean, those are nice, quick little touches that don't take very much of your time, but can mean the world to actually changing a person's life.
Exactly. And the feedback that I get from clients when it comes to just, the thing that sets me apart too is I bring it back to the basics for them. So I want it to be easy to understand. So getting that feedback that this is exactly what I was looking for, this is so easy to follow, and I appreciate the check-ins, that's what gets me going. That's what makes me super happy, and knowing that I'm working with the right types of clients and following my passion.
Mm-hmm. I love this conversation because we're talking about, clients and starting with clients. And I think a lot of people are in industries where it wouldn't make sense to start with an online-based product per se, but to actually work individually with people at first. And I'm curious to know, the thing about working with people one-on-one is that it scales only up to a certain point. Mm-hmm. And it gets to a point where you can't take on any more clients. Are you doing anything, or do you have systems in place to make it easier for you to perhaps even take more clients than other people might be able to take?
I leverage technology a lot. So I do have systems in place. I also have a content manager. I have marketing assistant. So I have help with these other levels of managing my website and getting and pushing content out there so that I can take on more clients and leverage my time to create the financial plans. So I do have those systems in place. And I also am looking into ways to service clients who might not be able to, or people who are coming to me who might not be able to afford the fees. I am looking into those online course developments to be able to, provide some sort of education to them on a cheaper basis.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. So sort of combining the client-based stuff with, it's almost like what we see a lot in the online space. The entrepreneur gets started online internet marketing space is, there's info products sort of on the lower tier level, and then there are the higher end products where you actually get access to people. Now, you started with giving access to yourself and sort of charging a good amount for that. Now you're sort of just filling in that gap for people who can't quite get there yet.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. That's going to be really interesting. When is that coming into play in your business?
That should be coming into play before the end of the year. I'm actually working on content to develop a newlywed boot camp. So I have a lot of newlyweds that come to me who are trying to figure out how to merge their finances and establish a budget together, even the communication around money. So that's one of the big focuses that I want to kick my course off with is newlyweds. That's really smart. So you're not only are you in the Gen Y niche, but you're taking newlyweds within the Gen Y niche and creating something special for them. Exactly.
I love that, because when people come to your site, they see that you have this product that is just, it seems like it's just built for them, as opposed to, hey, everybody, here's financial help. That's sort of on the grand scale. Now you're like, hey, everybody, here's some Gen Y help. But then now you're like, hey, if you just got married, finances are a big topic when it comes to marriage. I know this. That's a great strategy. So I think everybody out there, could you perhaps in the audience that you have now find a sub niche and cater to them, sort of like what Steve Kamb over at Nerd Fitness is doing. So he's, he has this general fitness website. He gives away a lot of great information for free. He has this forum, but his first product that he created was a fitness course for females, and then there's going to be one for males. And then there's going to be, I'm sure, subdivisions of that as well for maybe different weight classes or different goals within fitness as well.
Exactly, yeah. So my hope is to kick it off with the Newlywed Bootcamp, and then from there develop a new parent bootcamp, because that will allow me to actually leverage the content that I'm creating. There's some similarities in there. I can repurpose it, and I can also target a different niche.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. I can't wait to see this progress, because I know you and I are going to be talking a little bit more regularly now here in San Diego. We just sort of created a group where we're going to be meeting on a regular schedule to hold each other accountable and just keep each other focused. So I'm really excited to see that take off for you.
Thanks.
And I'll make sure it happens. I'm going to hold you accountable.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm a part of it.
Now, I think it's obvious, people will probably agree with me when I say this, you are really good at answering questions. You are very natural at it. You are just feel very comfortable when I'm asking you questions. I know that you are on TV a lot. Because I've seen you on NBC and other channels here. I mean, they're all over your YouTube page, which is great for social proof. But I'm curious, how did you end up getting featured in sort of mainstream media in that way for what you do?
So, I actually just established a guide for this a couple days ago. I'm participating in B School right now, and I've had so many questions about interviewing with the media that I created a guide. So it is on my website at workablewealth.com/mediabuzz. But where I started was actually with just basic writing. And I would do some guest posts for some industry associations on their blog. And from there, that actually, my exposure on this industry blog led to some quotes in Yahoo Finance. And then when I decided to launch Workable Wealth, before I even launched, I decided I was going to get active on social media. And I started on Twitter. And it was a little awkward at first because I, like to think about things and make sure I post the right comments. And so, but then I got into a natural flow, and I realized Twitter, people get really resistant to it and try to figure out, well, what if my clients aren't there? My prospective clients are not on Twitter, but who is on Twitter is the media and the industry. So what I found that I can do is Twitter, I'm connected to other financial planners. I'm connected to any of the industry publications, their editors, their reporters, and I join the conversation from a Gen Y perspective. I share Gen Y content across the board on different topics, but I always make sure to pop in and add my input from a Gen Y perspective to any conversations that I think are relevant. And I began to build my exposure basically as a Gen Y expert. So now that's led to my being profiled in different industry publications. The NBC stint, my recurring NBC thing with Bob Hansen out here, actually came from me sending a tweet to NBC. And Bob Hansen picked up on it. And the next day, I had an email from him and we were talking story ideas. That's really cool. And that reminds me of a story about a guy named Benny Sue who... Man, they're like doing landscape work right outside my window right now. I can hear it. Let me start over. Okay. That reminds me of a friend of mine, Benny Sue, who has a blog over at getbusylivingblog.com. He sent out a tweet just randomly, just sort of as a way to express sort of anger because he has a bunch of iPhone apps and one of them has the word candy in it. And the guys from Candy Crush sent him a nice cease and desist letter for using the word candy. They're trying to trademark and get rid of all the people using the word candy, which is crazy. But anyway, Benny just sent a tweet out about that. And then all of a sudden it started to spread and mainstream media started to pick up on it. So I think that's really interesting that also happened on Twitter. And then Benny was on a number of different media channels as a result of just tweeting about it. Yep. I mean, it's really interesting. I never really considered the fact that that's where a lot of people are sourcing information for news. Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely not. I wouldn't be able to connect with with other industry experts or the media on Facebook or LinkedIn. They're just not there. But I can see what other editors are writing about and the things that they're interested in from Twitter. So that's really been something that a resource that I can leverage and that I encourage others to leverage, especially when you are, doing a niche market. Find where your competitors are, find who they're following, and find where the industry publications are and who those editors and reporters are following as well. And that really will give you some insight and some, just a platform to begin to build your personal brand off of. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for anybody who perhaps might land one of these spots on a news channel or even, on a smaller scale, somebody's podcast? Maybe they have an interesting story or somebody asked them to join them on their podcast. How can one best present themselves like you do on somebody else's show or some, TV network? When you're asked to be on a podcast or you're asked to be on a network, always know the topic you're coming on to speak about. So some of the things with NBC for myself, for example, I'll get a call from Bob Hansen, 2 hours before he comes in saying, hey, I have this story. I'd love to hear your comments on it. And then that gives me some time to really frame my thoughts and do maybe a little bit of research if I need to. So being prepared and knowing who your audience is for whatever media piece or outlet that you'll be featured on is huge. And then also just kind of relaxing. One of the things I think we talked about this at our meetup, is I talk pretty fast, especially when I get passionate or heated about something. My hands fly around. I'm Italian. So one of the best things I learned from one of my person in my mastermind group for financial planners is she told me to don't focus on talking slowly, focus on enunciating. And that has been huge for me from a media perspective. NBC is, those appearances are pre-recorded, so they're able to edit those in, and they basically find the best clip. I was on a 10-minute live segment on a panel talking about Gen Y finances on TV in November of last year, and I felt like I rocked it because I just focused on enunciating the whole time. There wasn't an that came out of my mouth, and it was fantastic. So I think just being calm and doing your research and just running through the points that you want to make ahead of time is a great place to start.
That's fantastic. Do you have a story bank? For this is something that Ramit Sethi would always talk about, and something I've been trying to develop and think about consciously. Is he has sort of a bank or a library of stories that he's able to pull out in different situations or different conversations. Great stories that he's almost sort of tested and validated, whether it's in a presentation or in other engagements with other people. He remembers those things that work really well. Those stories that he tells that just seems to really resonate with people about different topics, and he's just able to, like a computer, just file through those things and say whatever is perfect for that situation. Do you have sort of a story bank like that?
I do, actually, yes. My whole reason for being in this industry is one of my main stories about just my family and the financial education that there was a little bit of a lack there. And so being able to effectively communicate that and the respect that I have for my parents at the same time is something that I have in my story bank. Also, I'm a military spouse. So those are stories that come up a lot. There's a lot of transition and change and varying income that comes along with being a military spouse through deployments. So those are part of my story bank. And again, so I'm Gen Y, but we talked about those sub niches. So I work with professional women, newlyweds, new parents. I'm a professional woman. I'm a newlywed, a couple of years, and new parents. That's the next phase that we're going in. So those are all things that I experience and stories I can relate to for my target clients.
Mm-hmm. You're just not some person who's just trying to pretend like they know what's going on. You're living it. Exactly.
And and the thing is, I share with my clients that I'm not perfect. I might get some judgment. One of my first blog posts was, I'm a financial planner and my estate is not in order. I didn't have a will. I want my clients to have a will, but I let them know I'm not a perfect person either. I have the education. I know what's needed. I am here to coach you. And sometimes I need my own accountability coach as well. That's just part of the game, part of being a business owner and a person. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're being real with your clients. I mean, there's no wonder that people stick around longer because they know that you're telling the truth. And when you tell the truth about yourself, when you're giving advice, people are going to take that advice much better. When it might not seem like, from the outside that would make sense, but it totally helps to be vulnerable and to share those pieces of yourself that might not be perfect. I mean, I do that all the time on Smart Passive Income. Exactly.
Awesome. Do you have any tips as we finish up here for anybody who is just getting started online, who, maybe they have a niche they want to get into, maybe it's a little bit competitive? How can people help themselves stand out of the crowd?
Look at what the industry is doing and see how you can be different. So for example, for me in the financial planning industry, if you go on most financial planners or financial advisors websites, you are going to either see a lighthouse or a happy old retired couple on the beach. So those are the two things. And so then when you go to the Workable Wealth website, boom, my face is there. There's fun, positive quotes. So whatever you can do to shake things up, it's scary to put yourself out there and to break from the crowd, but that's what's going to make you stand out. Blending in is not what's going to get clients. It's going to make it more confusing, and you'll have less value add that way. But standing out makes that light shine on you. So I think it's the not being afraid to be different.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge, and that's something that plays a big role in my marketing plan. And it's not just, I don't just do it for the marketing aspect of it. I mean, I feel like the traffic and the earnings and the authenticity and the trust that comes along with that is just a byproduct of me just, being comfortable with who I am and what I can provide, and also understanding what I can't.
Oh yeah, I think personality is huge. I think we talked about this as well when we met up, was just incorporating a little bit of you into your brand. That you are unique. Each one of us has our own skills and traits that we bring to the table. So letting that shine through, especially if you're in a service-oriented brand, that's huge. and embrace it.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you. I'm on your website right now, and it looks beautiful. Again, this is workablewealth.com. I noticed the phone number on the upper left-hand corner. Is that doing a lot for you as far as generating new clients? I noticed that on a lot of client-based type websites, and I'm curious to know how effective that is. Or is that there just purely for, yes, I'm a real person, you could reach me if you wanted to type thing?
It's purely there for, yes, I'm a real person, you can reach me. Most of my clients, since I am a paperless, technology-based office, clients are emailing me. So if you actually look, if you're on the homepage, you can schedule an appointment and coordinate with your calendar directly from that homepage. So I very rarely have people calling me. And, and to be honest, and I will be completely honest with this, I do screen my phone calls for the most part. I typically don't answer my phone. So if a client's calling, they can leave a voicemail, and I want to make sure to make the best use of their time and my time. They can leave their question on my voicemail. I can do the research, and then I can get back to them. Otherwise, if they're calling and catching me off guard, there might be some back and forth. But this way, it makes my phone's not ringing in the middle of me writing a blog post or doing something else. I just try to focus and batch my time so I'm the most effective.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to achieve the same result as far as just being real. I mean, when I go to a website and I want to potentially buy something like the next model scale of the DeLorean or whatever, and I'm on a hobby site, if there's a phone number up there, it just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about that purchase I'm going to make, as if something wrong were to happen with my order, I could just immediately call and fix that problem. Exactly.
Yeah. And I've had a few calls now and then, but typically even the media, they'll send me emails. Reporters don't typically call me. Everybody reaches out via email, the contact form that's on there, or just directly to me.
That's really cool. Mary Beth, this has been such a pleasure to speak with you here and have you provide all this value. I mean, this is just fantastic. I think it's going to inspire a lot of people, especially those who are just starting out and might be weary about starting with information-based products. I mean, it's okay to start with clients, and obviously Mary Beth here is starting with clients, doing really well with that, and now is shifting over to info products to serve an audience that she can't serve or who might not be able to afford her services. I mean, I feel like that might be a really interesting strategy for a lot of people to adopt, because you're establishing you're setting sort of a benchmark as far as what you're worth, and people will respect you for that. And then you can provide something on the lower end for people who can't afford it. And I think it could potentially be a lot more successful, as opposed to if you flipped it around and you started with the lower end information-based products.
Oh, exactly. I think there's a trust component there. So I'm building the credibility from having the existing clients and establishing the company first, and even the media stuff that happens from it. So I'll have a much wider audience to market the boot camp to down the road than I would if I had just kicked off with that.
And you can collect testimonials beforehand, and you're actually talking to these people who trust you, and they would probably, I'm guessing, would be more than happy to leave you a testimonial if you asked.
Exactly.
Very cool. Mary Beth, thank you so much. Where can people find out more about you, or where would you like them to go?
They can go to workablewealth.com or connect with me on Twitter at Mary B. Storj, Storj.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me, Pat. I appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Mary Beth from workablewealth.com. A very smart woman doing some amazing things in a very competitive niche. And so she's definitely one to follow. And also, she has a very beautiful looking website. So again, check it out, workablewealth.com. Now, if you want the show notes, if you want the links and the resources mentioned in this episode, head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/session106. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/session106. As always, iTunes ratings and reviews are completely appreciated. Thank you so much. I read them all, and they are so inspiring to me and help motivate me to keep going. And also, they help the rankings of the site too, so more people can find the show. And lastly, I want to mention an amazing resource, and that is actually today's sponsor as well, which is 99designs.com. This is an amazing website because, we all have graphic design needs in our business. And, I'm very fortunate to have graphic design experience from my previous job. But even still, I still use 99designs.com to get some graphic design work done, because what's really cool about it is instead of working with one designer and just going back and forth, and, it's hard to find that designer. And then even when you do find them, there's a lot of back and forth and it can be frustrating. Well, with 99 Designs, you kind of put in the description of what you want to see, whatever it might be, from a logo to website design or whatever, and then potentially hundreds of designers will come and create what they think you want. And then you could pick the one that is the best, that works for you. And you can actually work with them along the way. You could tweak things. You can have your friends vote on what they think is the best. It's just so cool. So again, that's 99designs.com. Check it out. If you go to 99designs.com/Pat, you'll get some bonus stuff, a $50 power pack free, just for going through that link. So again, that's 99designs.com/Pat. Thank you to the fellas at 99 Designs for sponsoring the show. Thank you to all of you for listening in and checking out this episode. I love you guys so much. Every time I hear any sort of feedback from the show, whether it's on iTunes or just comments on the post or even on Facebook and Twitter, it's just so motivating to me. And so thank you so much. I imagine, many more 100 episodes after this. I can't even envision stopping this because I just love it so much, and it's because of you guys. So thank you so much for the feedback. And also I love constructive criticism as well. So whatever you feel I could do to improve the show, I do this for you. So I want to do it the best way I can. So thank you so much for listening in. I'll see you in the next episode of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Again, show notes are available at smartpassiveincome.com/session106. Now make the rest of today awesome. That is your job from this point forward. You rock. Take action. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.